I didn't think I needed to do a video on this. That's why it's late. But I keep seeing people put guided videos on these trials, but not actually giving tips or advice, or valuable tips or advice. They just keep putting up videos of their success run of beating the trial and saying, hey, just do what I do. So here's a video on tips on how to beat the final trials, because it is tough. So on the final trial, they expect you to beat the 3 titans with a limited amount of 400 rings that carry over for each boss fight. The challenge feels like old Sonic the Hedgehog games where you fight against final boss with like 0 to 3 rings to your name. It's ridiculous. So doing quick math, you basically have 133 rings for each boss. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. Because in this trial, the game decided to finally up the ante and make you have to learn how to perfect parry on the fly. I say on the fly because Sonic Frontiers literally teach you parrying by telling you to just hold the button down while the game auto parry for you. So now you have 0 experience whatsoever in the game with the parry windows. So now you're on your own. Without knowing how to perfect parry, you can end up losing drastic amount of rings as the fights drag on for eternity, especially against the Wyvern boss. But enough talking, let's get into the strats that can make this trial a lot easier. And no, it's not changing difficulty to easy mode to increase your parry window. Pussy. Alright. Okay. So, strats against Giganto. Run up his body and make sure you don't hit the rare rings pulsating off his body. It can damage you and make you lose rings. I didn't know that, but apparently it does. It happened to me one of my runs. Upset at me. Anywho, the moment the boss fight starts, immediately draw a cyloop around him and lift him in the air. Go around his body slowly, but then on the corners, hit the boost button so you can wrap around him quick, and immediately get him in the air at the very beginning before you can even attack. Each boss takes extra damage while under the effect of cyloop. This is essential on killing the bosses fast. Once he's in the air, spam the stomp attack. It does the best damage at the quickest time. So just hit the punch button and then immediately press the stomp button. Keep doing that repeatedly over and over again. Build your cyloop gauge so it can be used for the second half of the fight. Immediately during the second phase, spam the parry button. I figured this out while playing for some reason. When you do that, Giganto laser cutscene doesn't hit you, meaning you skip the whole tapping cutscene and save yourself some rings. While you tapping and stopping that freaking laser of his, your rings is going down and they making you have to tap for a long time. If you're someone like me that can't tap fast, it's annoying. So to abuse and get rid of that whole cutscene, spam the parry button while he's trying to shoot the laser out, and you'll skip the whole scene, saving you a bunch of time and rings. After that, remember that cyloop bar you filled up in first phase? Immediately go in and quick cyloop him into the air. He may try to swing off you, so be ready to parry him or move out the way and get the cyloop off quick. Be prepared to dodge or perfect parry his swipe this time when you lift him in the air. Every boss on the second phase, they try to swipe you away when you cyloop them. So be prepared to dodge it or parry it. If you don't, you'll miss out on the DPS phase there. It is possible to get in and still kill him in time if he does swipe you before the cyloop ends. But the camera got to be generous, and you got to hope Sonic move quick enough and cooperates with you, because Sonic be missing with the locking in on the bosses and stuff. Okay, after you kill Giganto, immediately, and I can't stress this enough, home attack his face so it immediately starts the final cutscene. If you don't, you'll be waiting and wasting extra rings. If you do all of this perfectly, you can easily beat Giganto, only using like 35 to 40 rings. I think the fastest run I did was only using like 36 rings. Remember, I said you want to beat every boss with 133 rings. Well, boom. The amazing head start should give you the extra rings and room you need to fight the 2 last bosses easily. Now, the worst boss here, the Wyvern. Oh my god. Just saying his name gives me a headache, which sucks because this is my favorite boss theme in the game. Wyvern boss isn't annoying because it's hard. It's annoying because its parry window is weird and you can fight too soon with Sonic. He'll miss the hitbox on the boss and ruin a full damage phase. And sometimes weird stuff can happen in this fight, like moments you're supposed to parry the boss, a random rocket hit you from behind and now the whole boss fight flow get kind of messed up. It's janky. This boss is hard not only because of the buggy mishaps, but because he's the only boss that can't be dealt damage unless you perfect parry him. You see the issue here. He has the weirdest parry windows, buggiest fight, and can't do damage unless you perfect parry him. If you miss a perfect parry, you have to redo the whole phase to get a chance to do damage to him again. This boss will drain you of most of your rings if your parry isn't on point. So tips: always make sure you infinite loop before the boss fight start to get the infinite boost when you're running on the road and dodging the fireballs. Take your time because getting hit by a fireball can ruin your whole trial run. Once the supersonic portion starts, you don't have to boost. It doesn't matter here. Just focus on parrying the first rocket that comes to you. Once you parry the rocket, then start boosting to prevent one of them random rockets from hitting you from the back when you're trying to parry the boss when you're going to claw you. During the first phase, it's easy to parry the first claw. Just be patient. Don't get distracted by the boss moving his body all willy-nilly. Wait till you see the claw particle animation as a cue to parry. And if you're not a visual person like that, then try to focus on when the claw finna touch Sonic, then parry. That's the easiest way I can explain it on parrying that claw attack. I know it sounds easier said than done, but you got this. I believe in you, okay? You should have a quick side loop left over from the fight against Giganto. That's why we started his fight drawing a side loop instead of using the quick side loop. Use that quick side loop on Wyvern to handcuff him. Then wait. Do not attack him immediately after you side loop him, or Sonic gonna get glitched out and be far away from Wyvern. And this is what I mean by this fight is buggy. Sonic gonna be far away. You're gonna be able to try to fly back to Wyvern. Now you ruining the time you got for damage phase. It can ruin the whole thing for you. So after you side loop, wait till you see Sonic lock on the Wyvern again. Then start fight. Do not press the attack button before you see the lock on animation pop up on Wyvern again. Do the punch stump combo like you used on Giganto. You do a heck of damage, and you should go to the second damage phase of Wyvern right after that. If you ever parry Wyvern from hitting you off him, do not use the counterattack. Just go back to doing your punch stump combo. It does way more damage over time. Second phase, not much change except Wyvern swinging on you twice. He swings fast now for the first claw and swings slow on the second one. The first claw is easy to parry and anticipate. The second one is where the parry window is weird, as you can see with my gameplay footage in the background. You have to parry before the claw makes it to Sonic. It's weird. You parry him in mid-swing on the second claw. Now damage phase. Me personally, I didn't handcuff him on the second phase because I couldn't get his parry window down packed when it came to him retaliating like Giganto doing the second phase after being side looped again. And I didn't want to ruin a damage phase on myself here. So if you think you can parry it, then by all means handcuff him, parry, then beat his ass while handcuffed because he's taking more damage while he's side loop. If you don't want to risk the handcuff like me, you can damage him, then parry him when he tries to knock you off of him, which gives you more damage still. Enough to trigger the Rocket Quick Time Event cutscene. Do that cutscene, and he gets stunned again. You can do more damage to him with the punch stump combo. Be careful. Do not ruin any quick time events. If you ruin a quick time event, it'll automatically reset you back to the beginning of the damage phase if you happen to hit the rocket back at Wyvern and perfect parry his claws and stuff. So whatever you do, do not mess up quick time events here. Once you do, you'll be able to punch stomp him, and again, it should be enough damage to start the final quick time event cutscene. If not, just do the rocket thing again, yada yada yada. Once you do that, the final quick time event starts. You do that correctly, and boom, you beat Wyvern, the most challenging boss here with the perfect parry system. I just want to say this before we get to the night boss. As y'all can see with my gameplay in the background of when I beat the trial, I messed up a few times on Wyvern, and I think I messed up once or twice on Giganto, and I still walked away with 168 rings for the night boss. Again, you need 133 rings for each boss, meaning I have extra rings to spare for the Night Titan. So even if you don't do everything perfect, you can still beat it simply because of the leeway you got for killing Giganto super fast. If you did do everything perfect, if you didn't mess up on Giganto, you should have walked away with like 34 rings spent on him, maybe 32 rings. If you did everything on Wyvern, you most likely gonna walk up to the Night Titan with like 200 rings to spare, literally. So now I really don't have much advice for the Night Titan because he's super easy. I beat him on my second try. It was the Wyvern that kept messing up my run. Before the fight starts, you have to climb up his body after he slams his hand on the ground. But he posts spikes across while you're trying to get to his hand. Jump over the spikes to get to his hand. Don't worry if you get hit by the spikes. Just hurry up and press the boost button or the dodge button before hitting the ground, and you'll lose no rings. So you don't have nothing to worry about when it comes to like the fireballs that Wyvern was shooting at you. At the start of the fight, you can punch stump combo him until he swings his sword, parry or dodge the sword, and get back to punch stomping. He will then start blocking with his sword, which will eventually trigger the cutscene of him hitting you away and you riding the shield to hit him. Make sure you hit him with the shield to stun him. While he's stunned, you should have a leftover side loop to use on him after the Wyvern fight. Side loop him and punch him to death. I don't know if you can side loop him before he throw his shield. I don't know if it's possible. I haven't tried it. So if any of you guys know, definitely comment that down below. If you can avoid that whole part of him throwing the shield at Sonic and you riding the shield and try to hit him in the face, that'll save a lot of rings and time. So please comment that down below if that's possible. But I did it after I stunned him with the shield and then I side looped him. Second damage phase. That should force him to second damage phase. He take a lot of damage from side loop. He will now have his shield bouncing off the wall. It's easy to parry because it's moving slow. What I learned is purposely move back to where the shield trying to go to. Then parry it so you have more aim area at the boss. If you try to parry the shield close up, you're gonna have less time on trying to aim at the boss, less wiggle room basically, and it's not gonna work out. So make sure you fall back and parry it. I can't stress this enough because I've seen this in too many videos. People was aiming the shield directly at the boss when the boss was nowhere close to their face, and then they end up missing. You gotta lead the shot with some finesse, okay? Now aim the shield in front of the boss and he'll run into it when you get out of the parry screen of time being slow and hit him in the face. It's easy, okay? You stun him, and when you once you stun him with the shield, punch stomp him like you usually do. But be ready to parry because he's gonna try to swing at you with a sword. So be ready to parry or dodge him. Or side loop him immediately so he don't even get the chance to try to swing off you. If you do go the parry route, don't do like me and my gameplay footage in the background. I purposely did the counter because I seen how much rings I had. I was having fun and singing the song towards the night ball because I knew I won the trial. I knew I had it in the bag at that point after I got past Wyvern. I knew I did, okay? But don't do like me. If you parry his sword, just do the punch stump combo and side loop him. Do not do the counter attack cutscene that looks very cool. Don't do that, okay? Get your damage out the way, okay? Unlike the other bosses, when you side loop the knight on second phase, he don't swing back because Sonic crucified this boss with light sticks in his body, so he don't swing back in. So once you side loop him, you're good to go. You're ready to beat him up. You can even side loop on the second time and crucify him on the ground and still do damage. Regardless, when you side loop him, he's not gonna swing back. He take heck of damage. It's a wrap. Once you do that, cutscene start. Do the quick time event as perfect as possible, and boom, you're won. I beat him with like 23 rings left over. Definitely could have been a lot more. I could have beat him with like probably 80 rings left over or 50 rings left over. But I played around with the counterattack and whatnot, and then some things I messed up on Giganto and Wyvern during this run. But I digress. What you should have learned from this video is side loop is broken. So try to always have one in your back pocket before the next boss, so you can always side loop them on the first damage phase so you can immediately get to the second damage phase to save a lot of time. Lastly, the punched up combo is crazy good. Always go with that route. It's faster, save you time, save you rings compared to doing all them flashy moves that Sonic loves to do in Super Sonic. This should 100% help you beat the final trial regardless of the difficulty you're playing on. Get your perfect parry down packed against Wyvern and you're set. Let me know if this helped you out in the comments down below, and also comment more tips down below for other players that may click on this video and is struggling. And until next time, stay up.